Now, let us introduce the second speaker. The second speaker is Ms. Erika Taguchi. Her speech title is Lessons on How to Be Happy. Lessons on How to Be Happy. So, Ms. Taguchi, please.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Master of Ceremonies, distinguished judges, and the questioners. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Japan has the third highest GDP in the world, and is a country that is celebrated as being one of the safest places on earth. Compared to the third world countries, we, as Japanese, generally earn higher income, as well as having one of the longest life expectancies. As one could easily notice, statistics-wise, Japan is one of the most affluent countries in the world, and I am extremely proud to call this archipelago of 4 islands that is so rich in culture my home. Yet, I have always wondered why. If we are so educated, accomplished, and safe, why are we also so stressed? Watching my peers and my family getting overwhelmed by stress only fueled on my curiosity to ponder more about what it means to be truly happy. According to Live Science 2015, even in seemingly peaceful society like Japan, we are less happy than those in countries such as Guatemala, Romania, and Sudan, which are still under immeasurable amount of poverty. Today, I want to share with you how we can reconstruct our stressed out, despondent society into a happier one, and to also share with you the reasons as to why some of the undeveloped countries could be one of the most happiest ones. To achieve my goal in sharing this, I want to start off by talking about why the Japanese society demonstrates high percentages of stress and low feelings of satisfaction. One of the most prevalent causes to unhappiness in the Japanese society today is the constant pressure originated by our society's stigma and ignorance towards the idea of receiving help from others. Whether it's from a counselor, a friend, or family, we usually have a stance that staying strong is imperative when it comes to overcoming hardships in life. As a consequence, Japanese people often loathe talking about their hardships. Not the I locked myself out of my apartment type of dilemma in life, but more serious ones. Because of this, it was proven that in 2015, there was an increase in number of patients with mood disorders, including depression and new types of depression, according to Nikkei. So what does the inability to speak openly about how we are feeling to others affect our mental health and overall happiness? Well, let me share with you a product of our overstressed society. Have you ever heard of the word karoshi? Karoshi has been becoming increasingly common in our society today. Karoshi is a sudden death caused by working long hours in a stressful environment. According to the Japan Times, Japan has one of the longest work hours in the world, and this is the leading cause to stress, unhappiness, and thus, the karoshi. Thus, I feel that in a society as developed and prosperous as Japan, we need to rethink how we approach our work and prevent overworking. To recap, the rationale as to why Japan is unhappier than some of the undeveloped countries is because of our stigma towards receiving help from others, a notion that we have to stay mentally strong, and the long, grueling work hours that leaves no time for relaxation and distressing. Now that we know what makes Japanese people one of the unhappiest in the world, I would like to focus on the reasons as to why some of the undeveloped countries in South America contain some of the happiest people in the world today. In countries such as Guatemala and Panama, tough economic conditions are not considered as a reason for despair because of strong family bonds. Many of the families get together on the weekends and spend time together. Also, in countries like Panama, nature is readily available, so the beautiful landscape offers the relaxation and the positivity. Nature is a big factor in their overall happiness. Overall, countries in South America usually have strong relationships with the people and the environment around them. In fact, their open-mindedness and positivity helped me to overcome a challenge and find my happiness during my elementary school years. And this experience really helped to revive my family. When I was 9, my family and I moved to a small town in the state of Kansas. And next to our apartment, there lived an older couple from Chile who'd always invite us over to go fishing with them or join them on the barbecue in their apartment. They really cared about us, just like we were their extended family. And even though we had next to nothing at the time, we felt safer and happier than ever because we knew we could rely on our neighbors like a family. I later learned that people from Chile generally have different values in life. According to Hofstede, a well-known social psychologist, Chile is considered to be a feminine country, meaning that they value human relationships, while Japan, on the other hand, is considered to be a masculine country, meaning that we value material gain and competitiveness. Hofstede claims that the biggest difference between the feminine and the masculine countries is that the feminine countries tend to prefer short-term happiness, meaning that they like to live in the moment, while masculine countries such as Japan like to strive and prepare for the future with a high score on the long-term orientation, according to Hofstede's Center of Research in 2015. During my winter break of 2015, I decided to test out the South American perception of happiness. I took walks in the forest and the mountains near my grandparents' house to go back to my roots and feel the power of nature. I spent as much time as I could with family, and I kept telling myself, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger, and did not let hardships take over my mind. Before long, I realized that happiness was not something that comes to you, but something that you could achieve yourself. Happiness is a choice. In order to revive our society today, we need to rethink how we approach happiness. Most importantly, because we live in a masculine society, we should remind ourselves to live in the moment. As Alice Moore once said, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, today's a gift. That's why it is called the present. Together, we can revive our society for the better. Thank you for listening.
Now we have a question and answer session. Mr. Tamura, please.
Hello, Erika-san. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing. Thank you for asking. All right. Thank you for introducing a lot of interesting data and your experience in the United States with South American people, from Chile. My first question is that you said that according to Live Science 2015, the Japanese people are less happy than other undeveloped countries. Do you know how this Live Science statistics was conducted?
I think they tested people in 5 aspects of life, and their health and like how they basically questioned them on 5 different aspects of their life, and I think it has something to do with their overall health as well.
Okay. Yeah. So the economic value was not included.
Yeah. It was included.
Included.
Yeah, it was one of the 5.
But still, Japan was lower than other undeveloped nations.
Yes.
All right, interesting. Thank you. All right. Why did you think that the Chilean people are so friendly?
Well, I had a lot of friends from Chile and as well as a lot of friends from Colombia. And the one aspect that I noticed was that they really didn't separate their time between friends and family, which a lot of Japanese people tend to do. They really invited friends over as well as hanging out with family. And I think that's one of the most important things is to not divide the two, but to spend time with the people you love in general.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do you think that it is possible to achieve the GDP increase and the happiness index level? Increase the two things at the same time. Is it possible?
I think it's difficult because when you're in such a developed country, it's so hard to kind of not focus on the material gain or gaining fame or money, because that seems to be on our minds a lot if you're in developed countries, because a lot of people in undeveloped countries, they don't even know their next meal. So they kind of have to live in the moment because they don't know what's coming next. But for us, it's kind of easy to kind of predict into even 10 years into the future because we are so lucky to live in such a affluent lifestyle.
Okay. What do you think of the one of the Abe administration's goals? He wants Japan to achieve the GDP of 600 million yen by the year 2020. What do you think of this goal?
I feel that for us as a country, maybe it is a good thing, but for us as individuals, I think it puts a lot of pressure on us, and it kind of lowers our happiness levels. And I really don't see the point in kind of moving forward if we are so set back by stress and things such as karoshi.
So what is your opinion? Do you agree with this plan or do you disagree?
I disagree.
Disagree?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Here's the last question. This is your opportunity to repeat your core message, and you can use this question in repeating your core message in answering the question. If someone argues that it is impossible to measure how happy people are in a country, the only way to measure the nation's happiness level is to see the GDP, because GDP in capita indicates the standard of living. And after all, it is the economic stability that makes people happy. What do you say?
I disagree with that opinion because let's say there is a person from developed country who might make 6 figures a year, but he or she might still unhappy because they're so focused on the material and the future and their goals and their jobs that they're not really living in the moment. But there might be someone who's from developing countries and they might not even get to have 3 satisfying meals a day, but they could still feel happy because maybe they have friends and loved ones surrounding them, and they're not looking too much into the future. They're just focusing on the now, and I think that's the most important thing. So I don't think that your happiness could be measured by your GDP.
All right, that's all. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tamura. The Q&A session is over. Thank you, Ms. Taguchi.